Hello, my beautiful people. Never mind the StreamYard logo in the background. I'm using a different account. So, hello. I have not done a coaching lesson in a really long time. And I, again, was procrastinating this today. Guess what happens when you procrastinate? And not only that, overthink a situation last week with some family, and I was like, I know I really need to talk about this, but it's fine. Maybe people don't need to hear it right now. I don't need to deal with it, let it go. So let's start off by saying, again, if you're watching this for the very first time, for those of you who don't know, I started this podcast, and it was inspired by about actually, it might be almost 10 years now. So it was inspired by my 20 plus years in holistic wellness as an esthetician and then involved into coaching. The ideas around coaching and doing it through things like this, and inspired by also my self defense training, Krav Maga, the mindset I learned. And that's what I want to get into today without too many words of explaining right there. About managing conflict. Who likes it? Some people do. I don't know. Or to say likes it in the sense like to fight, it's normal, whatever it is. I do believe that conflict gives an opportunity for us to work on certain things in our relationships, especially if they're ones that we want to keep. It can be a very exhausting path, especially if not necessarily things get resolved. And but also with that being said, it's uncomfortable, people. I get it. And so what I wanted to talk about today, the bottom line and the focus and the whole mainness of why I want to do this is to let you know that you are supported, okay? Whatever decisions that you make, if it is in regards to leaving a relationship, leaving it, even temporarily, putting a pause on it, staying within it until you understand what the hell I'm talking about, and then that helps you resolve whatever that is there, meaning fears of not speaking up, pressures, whatever it is, right? So, what I wanted to start with by saying, without giving too much, because I don't like to share a lot of very specifics in my personal life, but obviously it gives me great material for shows and to constantly talk about. So, this is regarding family. It could be immediate family, it could be in-laws, it could be friends, right? But I'm going to make this specific to family and in-laws and people that you engage with quite frequently. I don't know, there's so many different situations. I can't give every scenario, but I'm going to say specific family or in-laws, people you feel more so of an obligation. That might be a better way to put it. Some very good. I do have some notes today. If you want to learn more about this, yes, this compassion, this assertiveness and being direct with compassion, right? And not feeling like you are being a bitch or a dick or an asshole, right? We aren't taught kind of how to navigate, how to deal with conflict. Avoiding is actually the go-to, I think, for a lot of us because, again, it's uncomfortable. We don't know how to do it. We don't know how the person's going to react. And so a lot of this that I learned in my self-defense training and how to do this. So now moving forward with people, I'm not saying it's not comfortable, people. It's just a little bit easier. I feel a little bit better, especially if I care about the person and love them. I will want to have some, what do you call it, like preemptive conversation, like, something that I want to talk about. But sometimes I don't even say that because that's just too weird. I just try to interject it casually and ask a question. So you can look that up on your own. Some of my videos might talk about it. I know one of my very first ones on my Spotify and Pandora, which Spotify, Pandora, and some other ones that just have my audio shows. It's called Being Bulletproof. So it might have a few couple of wordings in there, but you can look it up. It's just like using I feel. I also like to I feel XYZ. Just certain things that won't stimulate some sort of defensiveness from people. Okay, so let's get into it. This is basically what happened is I felt a little bit attacked by this person. I was not expecting the anger to become of it, but basically, um, it's just on the topic of gossiping and sharing people's personal information and things like that. Basically, some people, I will say, feed off of, or it's natural or normal for them to gossip or, whatever it is. I'm not here to blame anybody, but it made me feel uncomfortable and reminded me of these conflicts, right, that we have with people that, and again, it still kind of made me cry. I think it's sad because it's coming from somebody that you care about, but also just upsetting, and I couldn't say anything at the time, so it brought back some memories. And so, what I wanted to share with you all, I've said this before, is that you only see me as I am now. You haven't seen me in the past. And I've said this before that I'm not perfect and I still struggle in speaking up in certain things. And it's uncomfortable. So sometimes, not seeing somebody, not talking to somebody for a few days or weeks, whatever it is, you never really end up talking about it, but it just resolves itself, right? But maybe necessarily we didn't solve anything because it's going to come up again. But this is the part of that saying that we pick our battles. So, depending on who it is, how much we care about the situation, and sometimes, right, we can just brush it off, just whatever, we don't talk about it again. I know how that person is, whatever, okay? So, you have only seen me in this state now, so I want to help you, tell you that you are supported, because sometimes you feel really alone. Like, you should speak up, you should end the relationship, you should or walk away, you should do all these things. And I've talked to enough people in life, including my clients, who say it was with the in-laws and they just would see them pull up in their driveway or whatever it is and they would hide. And when you have another significant involved too, right? It's like, okay, well, we're supposed to be on the same team, I would think, most of the time, right? Most of the time you can be on the same team and back each other up. Sometimes it's not always like that, right? Sometimes the whole mama's boy thing comes into play. I'm going to use that term. Will we say that there's a term for a girl, mama's boy? Yeah, daughters. I don't know. Maybe that can be applied with mothers too. I don't know a term for that. So all these situations we get into that, it's really easy to avoid and just brush things off and act like they're not a big deal until they are, right? And sometimes it ends in sad situations. And maybe it's the big holiday thing, it's like, oh, I just want to talk about, doing our own thing this year would be a solution, because I feel so pressured I'm just giving an example, right? Holidays are coming up. You feel obligated to go to them all the time and you don't want to do that one year. So it's like, okay, how do I approach that without hurting their feelings? Well, there's different ways I can tell you, people. There's different things like, hey, we're going to do our own thing next year. How about let's do it a different day? Whatever it is, we forget about that part of like, you can celebrate on the whatever of the whatever it is on a different day. So how important is that in your family? And again, this depends on who you are talking to, dealing with. So this is also going back to personal empowerment, people. Okay, so I talk about finding your truth and me not telling you what you should do, how you should be, how you should act. I'm just showing you from my experience because I've looked at now so many different perspectives that I want you to figure it out on your own. And a lot of these fears, remember, false evidence appearing real, that's one of my favorite acronyms. There's a lot of things that we build up in our mind that we have nothing to be fearful of, Perhaps the holiday thing, you are fearing that, and it is nothing to fear because that person is just gonna be like, oh, that's okay, that's fine, whatever you want to do. And now you worried and got your panties in a bunch over nothing, is an example. But some people, okay, personal empowerment, if you haven't already guessed, I have always been about this. I never realized, though, how important it was in my journey to feel free, even within a relationship, because that is also not promoted, right? There's some sort of tug of war, some sort of control going on there, and not that there can't be. Um, looking out for each other, but how much do you want to be controlled? Do you want to be able to live your own life and be in your own journey? Or would you like to choose to be controlled? Or maybe that's not the best word to put it. You would like to be regulated a little bit more. Okay? And so that's fine and all good if that's for you and your life. So I want you to find that out for yourself. Personal empowerment. Okay, I just said that there are many factors involved in why we don't speak up, right? But if you look at the roots and you do your homework and write it down like I said, even one line, what holds you back from speaking up, right? Okay, if we already looked at fear, it's fear, right? And why do you have that fear? It would go, I will get out my dry erase board. I wasn't going to do this. Okay, so we'll look at fear, right? The awareness of and who you are dealing with, right? Who, um, why, and these are the things that make it so hard, right? And then maybe you don't have skills and or words. How do you speak up? How do you speak up compassionately to state your needs or your requests? How do you do that gently? Okay, there is a way to do that. Yes, maybe you are very pressured and intimidated by your parents or, a cultural thing. It's just like you respect, you obey your elders. This is going to be a little bit harder because you're going to be like, maybe you're like, well, even if I learn how to speak like that, I don't want to do that. Fear of, in the past, it was maybe being spanked or whatever it was. We've talked about this before, authoritarian structure, right? It's like they're going to throw you in the dungeon or something and be punished for speaking your mind. So, personal empowerment, okay? How important is this to you? So, as I said, you will maybe going to learn in your own way. You will learn in your own way if you want to go down that path and know more about what I'm talking about. But let's just say you are thinking all those thoughts like, am I going to be left in the dark? Maybe it's just, oh, my in-laws or my parents watch my kids. Who am I going to have watch my kids? This and that and whatever. Any scenario you can think of, people, I got you. Because when you start changing your mindset that everything will work out, it does. Something you will not even imagine could happen as a result of you eliminating or taking a pause on these types of relationships that don't really help you in the sense of allowing your freedom and your ability to speak up, right? These are the things when you repress inside that I'm not the first one saying, will cause disease and illness in the body. Now, it doesn't have to be that extreme, but just imagine, as you already know, when you hold things in, what happens, right? It just keeps festering, building up like the pressure cooker. Okay, and then you explode. And all because you didn't want to stand up for yourself. So please just be confident in trusting me to know that things will work out. Okay? If you stand up, if you're worried about I'm not going to have any friends anymore, whatever it is, were they really truly a friend to you anyway? And what is that? Right? What is that to you? Apparently, I have a very tall order when it comes to friendships, and I never really thought that it was. I don't think it's actually a big request, the things that I put out there and how much I love friendships and the love and the bonding and the everything, all that garbage. Anyway, so look at a situation if you have one. Sit down with yourself. I'm telling you, people, with paper, not driving around, walking around, all these, having these random thoughts, because you will sit down, go within. If you need to pray to Jesus or whoever it is, pray to yourself and look at the situation, how important it is. Is it worth it for you to speak up? Is it worth it for you to try to resolve it? Who is this person? All of this, it's taking the time and not waiting for another run-in with this situation, or people again blowing up and having these blowouts and people don't even talk for years and years and years sometimes. I actually got my dad and my brother to talk after 15 years, and they didn't have a big blow up, but and they're not talking again because my dad can't stop asking him questions about working. They have, their own challenges there, but just the fact that I got them talking is still a reward to me. It's still an accomplishment. I still think it's a success, and maybe they will talk again, right? So to close on this segment, I would like you to just look at, like I said, conflicts aren't always bad. I just think we weren't taught a lot of these skills and how to deal with it. I think it's uncomfortable. I don't want to have to do it. I try to avoid, and not even just learning the words, but more so than anything, I just try to go into most things thinking positive. I know that sounds so annoying, but expecting a positive reaction. I also really like um, asking questions to get where their mind is at and not make assumptions about any of it, because you don't know what somebody's thinking. And so, it's not just, oh, can we have a conversation? I mean, it's questions like just to ask them, like, what were they thinking when this happened? How do you feel about XYZ? Um, Somebody gave me an example in a job interview about what if you came in and somebody had left all their shit a mess, or the place not cleaned up or whatever, what would you say to them? And because I know now that everybody is learning at their own pace and their own journey, and sometimes they are only focused like this, I would be asking them, like, what happened last night? Like, were you running late? Did you forget to do something? Did you forget to clean up? Is something going on right now? It depends on if I knew them, right? Is something going on in your life right now? Are you stressed? Of course, in the work environment, if you don't know somebody that well, you're going to first jump on the first assumption, right? But then that's going back to thinking that everybody is raised the same as us. Everybody's going to do the same thing, react the same way, same etiquette. Why? Why would we think all these things? So it can be exhausting learning process, um, just with people, right? People in general. So I said I was going to close, I'm going to end here by saying you are supported, okay? If you decide to leave these situations, and like I said, you can put them on pause, you can come back, you can return, you can say again after you've smoked and drank your little, had your fix and whatever to relax and come back and deal with it. Whatever it is, I'm supportive. I will never tell anybody that you should do this and you should do that and you should break up with them because they're hitting you or whatever it is. It's really coming back to, maybe you didn't like it that I said that, but I am here to hold space for people. Okay, while I might not support things, I don't want my friend to be hurt. I don't want, but when you're talking to somebody in another land of another mindset that is normal or natural to them, for us to tell them what to do and they're not ready to hear it nor take the action, they're not going to see it, right? It's like you're saying, oh, you don't deserve that. You're beautiful. They don't love you. And I'm not saying that it's wrong to give an opinion. You might want to ask first, right? Would you like some unsolicited advice? But when we care about somebody, of course, we want to look out for them and say these sorts of things, but it's really making them go inside. And sometimes therapists, maybe somebody's seeing a therapist about all these sorts of things, but the therapist isn't asking them these questions. There are a lot of great ones out there, but I don't know. So I just wanted to give that scenario of whatever the process, whatever you need in the time, go to listen to other podcasts, listen to other people's stories about what they did in their relationships that did maybe involve abuse, or maybe, again, it is, you don't recognize it as abuse. Okay, well, just go look up what it means to be assertive, right? What does it mean to stand up? What does it mean if somebody is not making you, if you don't feel good inside with the way that somebody is talking to you or physically treating you, it's okay, it just happens here and there. Well, let's just look at the dynamics of the relationship in general. See how this can just go so deep, people? So let's recap, like I always do and say. We all understand, a lot of us understand where you are at, that you may feel alone in sense in your thoughts. You may even feel alone with your significant and kind of dealing with these certain things, and you don't even want to tell them what's going on with the in-laws. You know what I mean? So like there's so many things, and like I just feel like I've had to deal with a lot of things myself. And maybe it's because I was so successful in my writing. I think that's a huge part of it. So, recapping, look at your fear. Who, why are you having a hard time? Who and why? Why are you having a hard time speaking up? Do you think you should speak up? I'm thinking if you listen this far into this episode, that you wanted to know something that I had to say about conflict resolving or managing conflict. And I'm sorry I don't have a deeper, in-depth example for you right now to get into it, but I do feel like I was people pleaser basically until, I almost want to say up until self-defense about 35. And even when I learned social skills and sales in my early 20s, I still had problems, and that's how I go into the rabbit hole of talking about self-worth, self-esteem, having confidence, how there are different things. They can all sound similar, but they are not. And part of being able to speak up is being confident about yourself and what you are talking about, which I will post on my public speaking video, and how to overcome or manage the fears and anxiety that you may have if you ever were to do that. And it sounds really simple. Again, if you are confident and all of that, and if you're an extrovert, you're even probably better at this sort of thing. But I was an introvert, so a lot of this stuff was really difficult for me. And also, I felt like such a performer. Like, it's so just lame and embarrassing. Like I have just talked about in my video about when I was learning to dance samba. Okay, so move my hips being all sexy and so embarrassing and dumb because my punk rock snobness, we don't dance. We just mosh or slam into each other, which I really never really did that, people, but I would go to hardcore churches where we were doing things where, that happened. And yeah, you're definitely not being sexy. You're definitely not trying to be sexy. It's not about being pretty. In fact, it's almost anti being pretty. It supports more individualism and those different things now that are now trendy and okay with being like So I will meet you in the next video. And again, like with all my videos, please just pick what resonates with you and get rid of the rest or eliminate the rest, leave the rest, however you want to look at it, because maybe this is not for you. Like I said, it's about personal empowerment. Maybe this isn't for you. And don't forget to check out my Spotify, Pandora. I know there's a couple of other online sites that just have my audios. They don't have my videos like YouTube. And that's about all. Okay, so I hope this helped you. I hope you feel supported. However long it takes you, it could take you your whole life. Maybe you need to see more examples. Maybe you need to listen to more people talk. For those of us who have done this, it took me a very long time. And like I said as well, I still have issues in some areas, and maybe it will just always be like that. I don't know. Again, remember, it just depends, and how many people I interact with thus far moving forward in life, right? Sometimes you can plan and prepare and think you're going to do all these sorts of things, and you go into it and you're like, okay, I got this. I understand human behavior. I know about personality disorders. I'm gonna nip this in the bud. Never mind that I said that. I am going to nail this in the first conversation with talking to somebody, and everything's going to be all good, and I'm going to avoid so much conflict, and this is going to be all good, and everything's going to be fine. And good luck to me. But I feel better equipped learning what I've learned, okay, to share with you today. So I will see you in the next video. Good luck to you. You can do it, and you can overcome those fears, okay? Aside, if you want to get into it, from learning, you can learn some breathing techniques, some acupressure points, some different things, but I didn't really do that in my one situation. And yes, if I practiced more, I could have applied it more, but again, I just plan on it being fairly smooth sailing from here at this point in life. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video, people. Thanks for listening.